It happened during COVID.
Oh,
So we were in a lockdown. We couldn't leave our apartment. I had all these symptoms of heat and sweating
sweat.
during the night, etc.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe, I don't know if I had a lot of mood swing, but since we were in COVID anyway, so people were depressed.
Yeah.
So it's kind of I can't tell what was COVID and what was
whether you must go
Yes, actually I had been waited for it for a long time because I had breast cancer 10 years ago and also went through a hormonal therapy where I was expecting that menopause would arrive earlier.
Right.
So actually it only happened when I stopped this therapy.
Okay. Hi everybody, my name is Karen from Midlife Mojo. Now, you can't believe where I am. I'm actually in Brussels, in the home of this lovely lady here, and her name is Ragna. And we've got to know through family, friends, and all. And this is where I'm going to interview her and find out what is turning 50 for her and her lifestyle. Because here at Midlife Mojo, I want to bring in interesting people to talk about this new stage of life, and that we can have a lot of things going for us, and we are not too old to still have the best quality of life in anywhere in the world. So, Ragna, tell us a little bit about yourself and what do you do? How old are you, or how young are you?
Well, my name is Ragna. I'm Norwegian. I'm married to a Belgian husband, and I have 2 grown-up sons.
Right.
And I'm 57 years old now, and currently I'm working as the managing director of an international organization.
Okay.
But I've been a working woman my whole life, so I've been partly a Norwegian diplomat, partly working with international organizations.
Wow. So would you say, looking back, how would you describe turning 50 in a single word or a single phrase? What was significant for you?
I think turning 50 was something nice. It was quite harmonious, actually.
All right. So you didn't have any traumatic crossroads or something that you think, oh, maybe I'm in the wrong path in my career?
No, it's funny because I think it was more difficult to turn 30 and 40.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Turning 30 is getting an adult, and at 40 you're a bit worried about where the life is taking you, your career. Turning 50 was something that's just happened. Suddenly I was 50 and all my friends were 50 and I started having big parties.
Okay, that's right. You're the second person who said that to me, because to you, it's like, and both are Caucasian, who said that turning 50 was a breeze, but that 40 was a little bit more tricky.
More difficult.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Would you mind to share what happened in your 40s that made you kind of, what was that trigger?
Well, you think your children are still quite young, so you're quite occupied with your family. And at 40, it feels like you should know where the rest of the life would take you. Okay. Are you on the right path when it comes to your career?
Right.
I was wondering, should I go back to studying? So I think there is more questioning at 40.
Interesting. And in terms of your mindset changes, or in terms of priorities, what do you think shifted for you, and when? Whether it was the 40s or 50s, really shifted for you?
I think it shifted more in the 50s. I think you start feeling more secure about yourself. If you're happy with the life you've had, then you feel you are where you should be in life. So
right. But when you were met with that crossroads, which was earlier in your 40s, was there a shift at all in terms of what was your aha moment to say that, okay, I think this is what I want to do in your life?
I think when you start building your career, I didn't have a kind of very clear goal for where I would end up. So I've been going with the flow and grasping opportunities as they came. At 40, I felt like, I have to make some choices, some conscious choices. But at 50, it was more like, okay, no, I'm on the path, it's rolling, and
Okay. Oh, but when you say in terms of that decision to say, okay, this is the right thing, what helped you make that decision? There must be something that say, okay, I think this is really what I'm happy doing. There must be, whether it's your gut telling you, okay, I like, this is the path that I'm going to take on.
Yes, well, I had a career where I was moving around a lot,
Okay.
and I was also the breadwinner in the
Okay.
family, so the responsibility was on me.
Okay.
And when I changed job, we also often changed country.
Right.
So it was a big responsibility, taking your whole family with you, and establish yourself in a new country.
Right.
So I think when I turned 40, we have been living 4 years in Vietnam. We were moving to France for a couple of years.
Okay.
And I was not clear on, okay, where do we go from here? But at some stage, you're kind of, you can live off what you've done earlier. There is a logic in how the next steps are kind of given to you in a way. But
understand.
You can rely on what you've done earlier. You have the experience you can build on, and maybe your employer starts appreciating you more for all the experience you have. So it becomes easier with age.
Okay. So, but in terms of in your priorities in life. So obviously, when you're 30s, when you said the children were younger, obviously they were the kind of the prime priority and all that. Now that in your 50s, that they are grown up, and you and your husband have your kind of your liberties, your freedom. What is your priority now?
Yeah, and I think that has shifted quite a lot, yes, because earlier it was the family that was the most important thing. And then, of course, juggling your work life and with your family life. And there was little time to yourself.
Yeah.
And also with my husband, we got children quite early after we met. So now that suddenly the children left home, we have more time to ourselves.
Yes. Yeah.
So of course it was a bit difficult when they left, but when you get used to it, it's actually quite nice.
Yes, it is.
So now we have more time together, the two of us. And I suddenly had time for myself to cultivate my hobbies.
Okay.
And also to make career moves that didn't cost anything to the rest of the family. So it's easier to make these choices when the other people do not depend on
you. And do you think that pursuing your hobbies and the things that you like to do is super important in your very high stress kind of work?
Yeah, I think it's important to have other things in life than work as well. Yeah. So both friends, hobbies, being able to go for hikes, walks, travel.
Right. What is your favorite hobby that you find really helpful in times of stress, in times of, I'm sure you had your challenges with menopause and the symptoms. What was your go-to de-stress kind of self-care that you do for yourself?
Yeah, well, I very much like photography, and that is something I didn't have so much time to do when the children were smaller. So that's something I took up again when I suddenly had some more time.
Right.
And then I think it's important also to do things for your health. So I do yoga. Okay. And I also try to work out. I think that's more and more important as you grow older.
It's so true.
Take care of your body.
Exactly. Yeah. But do you find it like a huge, after a good workout, even if days where I'm sure you wake up and you don't feel like working out, do you find that after you do, there's this sense of, I did something well for my body?
Yeah, and you're a bit proud of yourself.
Exactly right.
Now I can relax.
Exactly. So what would you say to your younger self now that you are 57, if you have to tell a younger 30-year-old Ragna?
I think you should not stress so much. I think when you're younger, you worry a lot. You worry about, have you chosen the right partner? Have you chosen the right career, the right country? So I was a bit stressed of losing out, doing the wrong things. No,
I think we
I
worry
think
too much about what people think, don't we?
yes, as well. So,
Yeah.
so I think if I could tell myself something to relax a bit more and just enjoy life, enjoy the time with the kids when they were small,
Yeah.
and not be afraid that you would
Fail.
or lose out on something.
Yeah. I think so too, because I keep saying to people that I'm more liberated now at 55. I mean, I think we all have that worry about finances and whatever it may be. But you somehow there is a wisdom, don't you agree that we have?
Yes, and I think you're not as eager to please all the time.
Yes.
Before you really had to please and
that
be in the
is so true.
seduction. Now it's kind of okay. I'm like
Too bad.
take it or leave it.
Yes, please. I am what I am, and that's not gonna. So moving on from that, talking about self confidence and self acceptance. What has that for you in terms of whether it's so in terms of your physical or even in terms of career, have you accepted who and what you are now, and that you're good, you feel like you're in a good place?
Yes, much more than before. And I think also now that I have managing this position with a lot of responsibility, I'm happy that I didn't do that like 10 or 15 years ago, because then I would be much more concerned about what people think about me. Do they like my decisions? No, I'm feeling much more secure, and I can also handle that people don't like everything about me.
Exactly. True that.
Have a thicker skin in a way.
True. That is so true. That is so true. And okay, so what I'm going to talk about as well is your journey when you had your menopause and all that. So what do you think in terms of the Western society where when you grew up? First of all, when did you experience menopause, and where were you at that time? Because you were traveling a lot.
Yes, actually, we lived in Paris, and it happened during COVID.
Oh,
so we were in a lockdown. We couldn't leave our apartment more than a couple of 1 hour per day, I think. I had all these symptoms of heat and sweating during the night, etc. And maybe I don't know if I had a lot of mood swing, but since we were in COVID anyway, so people were depressed.
Yeah,
so it's kind of I can't tell what was COVID and what was
whether it was hormonal or okay, gotcha. And what did you do? I mean, given that you were experiencing, you were aware that you were going through that transition.
Yes, actually, I had been waiting for it for a long time because I had breast cancer 10 years ago and also went through a hormonal therapy where I was expecting that menopause would arrive earlier.
Right.
So actually, it only happened when I stopped this therapy.
Okay.
And then I was kind of embracing it. Well, this is the next step.
Right. Okay. And did you have besides the hot flushes and the night sweats, did you feel any other symptoms like brain fog, difficulty to focus at work?
I had already had that for some time because of this cancer therapy.
Right.
So it was just a continuation. that was the biggest change. It was when I started this therapy.
Right.
Because then I had used to have a very sharp mind to brag about it. But suddenly I couldn't remember very easy things or what I just told you.
Yeah. And
2 minutes later, I had forgotten.
Okay.
So that was the biggest change. And of course, I think that continued during menopause. But then I had kind of accepted that this was the new me.
Okay. But I'm very curious being in the I mean, you are in the work environment. Did you feel that your colleagues or your bosses were understanding, or were they not aware? What is it like, and what would you think that is important for, especially corporations today? Do you think that they should have more education for women to be aware, and that corporate companies should be aware of how we can still contribute, but we need a little bit of leeway because of what we are going through.
No, I think definitely it's good with more openness about this and recognition. Everyone knows about puberty when you become an adult.
Yeah, exactly.
And we talk very little about this next transition, which is as important. I think, well, while this happened during COVID, it was a lot of working from home. And also, I didn't really play it out in the workplace so much. And I had kind of coping strategies when you need to write down everything because you can't remember. So I think maybe I took it more out on my husband. We had some
yes.
good arguments.
Husband, yes. The poor husbands get the brunt of it. Yes, for sure. But in terms of, in your opinion, being a working person and all that, do you think that companies should start recognizing that women over 50s are not are still very viable for work, but they need to understand what we are going through so that they can give us the help? Because in my view, postnatal care, women get that 3 months or whatever months that they get maternity. Why not women who are going through menopause?
Yes, definitely.
Right.
And I've seen that in my workplace with other colleagues later when I was through the worst. I had a colleague who really suffered, and it was taken into account by her boss and the environment. I think in Norway there is a lot more openness about this now, and I think maybe it's our generation, the first one, is really talking about it in public more than our mothers. Our mother never talked about it, so didn't really know what to expect.
Right.
But now you have a lot of journalists writing about it, books coming out, television shows.
And for sure.
I think also in the cinema, you have more films portraying women going through it. It's kind of normalizing it a bit more.
I think that, it's so important that we keep this discussion going, because we are 50% of the world population, and yet everything that is going through our body is not being researched enough, is not given enough recognition. And that's the purpose of why we women here, those who are working like Ragna and myself, trying to bring that awareness. So in your view, do you think right now in Europe or in Norway that there's enough support or awareness given, or still there's still enough runway to go ahead to
I think it's starting, but there is still more to do because it has been kind of shameful to talk about these things. So it's something you're trying to hide. And now that you have more women in power in my country, you have a lot of women in politics and in important institutions and positions. So then you start normalizing a little bit that being a woman in midlife and having important jobs.
Exactly.
And being yourself.
I'm still hoping that this will come more, especially in Asia, because there's still instances where even female, the younger female, because they haven't experienced any of this, and then they make fun of someone who's going through it and say, "Oh my gosh, she must be going cuckoo," or that kind of thing. So that is something that I hope we can change our culture and have more conversations. I mean, there's not just one podcast can change it all. Obviously, we still need to have that conversation. So, in last words to our Malaysian audience and more Asian-based audience, could you share with us, what do you do for self-care on a regular basis, and what would you advise women who are in their 50s and going through this? What would you advise them?
I think for me, the whole this yoga mentality is quite important, to find your inner peace and to accept your body like it is. And to kind of keep breathing and
Deep breathing, even when you're getting really annoyed.
and then also be proud of who you are and your new self, not be ashamed of it, and see the positive side of it, because often you talk about menopause as something negative or shameful, and that you are finished. You're finished as a woman when you reach menopause. And that's not true. It's a new spring. You have a lot of
I agree. It is definitely
energy, new possibilities.
Yeah, exactly. It is a lot of the mindset, ladies. If you're out there, you're listening to this, what we're trying to do is that, turning 50, yes, biologically things have changed. We can't deny it. It's going to happen to all of us at some point. But it's really getting to the point of changing the mindset, isn't it? And saying, okay, this is going to happen. And now with medical advances, with so many tools and medication and supplements out there that is so useful, women are living past 90 years old. So which means you have to choose. Do you stop living at 55? Or you're going to make sure your life's really awesome for the next 40, 50 years, which is still a long time. So I hope that you will take this advice that Rana and I are giving you, and that please know that if you have any questions, please give us lots of comments, follow us, and don't forget to follow Midlife Mojo for our episode next week. And until then, have a great day.